invited here to open Claire's show of paintings. This is her third with the Olivier Cornet Gallery. So Claire is showing work that's made over the last 2 years, and as we all know, this has been a truly transformative and volatile 2 years. We could talk about this work as a reimagining and a remembering of living through catastrophic times. And Claire has absolutely used recent and unfolding history to great effect in all of these paintings. I think this is a really important show, and it's important work as well. I think Claire asked me to open this show because there are many dualities and crossovers in her and my work as well. Both of us are interested in the recording and the representing of events, whether these, in my case, and also yours, are protest conflict events, are unfolding military situations. But of course, as should be the case, our outcomes are very, very different. I think Claire is more of a storyteller, but I am also fascinated by the pivotal historical moments that Claire is observing and changing and painting here. And I also know how difficult it is to make a set of decisions about what event to paint. What happens when this event is still unfolding as you make the image? And then also as you exhibit the work, as in the case of the work about Ukraine here, and where this places you as the maker and as the narrator, which is what you are, Claire. Of course, this gives the artist lots to grapple with, and Claire certainly grapples and engages with lots of things, such as scale, materiality, collaging, the archiving and the knitting together of images, and the production of narrative. We spoke earlier in the week about the work for quite a time, and she spoke about the image not being hermetically sealed, of being open to the viewer, because the event is still happening, things are still unfolding in Ukraine, the event is not finished. And she does this with this kind of incredible construction of the images, the telling of the story, and also by using looser paint. And this gestural work allows a kind of more open interpretation of the work. So I see kind of differing paintwork in the different paintings, and this itself is building meaning into the image. Claire seems fascinated by the idea of the received image, usually a found media image, one which echoes from the screen through the artist's process. And I think she's thinking about how we as the audience encounter the adopted image through a work of art. I wonder what kind of familiarity this gives us, a kind of recognition of maybe having seen the image before. And I do think this work is super important, but I think it's super important right now to think about truth and lies, and how artists can respond with their work to political situations, because many prominent figures and many news feeds seem to feed us versions of the truth, if not outright lies. And Claire definitely mines for events which of course have happened in real life, but for where the original prompt or the impetus for the event is rooted in uncertainty. In older work of yours, like to go back to 2003, or some of the work here like the storming of the Capitol, the impetus for that work is rooted in a lie or in uncertainty. Our older work, the search for WFD in Iraq, now showing in IMMA. Even the 12th of July bonfires in Northern Ireland are weird, hallucinogenic structures built on a shaky historical premise. Claire spoke to me about being fascinated by the effort that goes into the construction of these, just to watch them go up in the bloom of smoke and fire. And of course, we have references here to Bruegel and to religiosity, and a search for meaning and the why. And I wonder here about the why. As artists, do we genuinely search for truth, or a version of a truth? It is universally acknowledged now that we often seek out truths that sit within our own belief structures, which is why we often find ourselves in an echo chamber, having things that we believe reiterated to us. But I don't think Claire does this. These are complicated, multi-referential paintings, drawing on multiple references, and setting off all sorts of recognitions and half-memories when we look at her works. Timothy Morton, who writes about ecology in a really interesting way, he talks about truthiness as a kind of Heideggerian phrase of always being in truth, in some kind of low-res, in-betweeny, slippery version of the truth. And Morton is good to look at for artists because he talks about beauty and he talks about love and how they're useful ways of not having to explain things. As in, I love something and that's enough. We don't have to say why. But I have to say, I do love these paintings. I really love the paintings. And I'll tell you why. I love their quirkiness, but also the effort that is visible. I love their telling of tales, their engagement in the world, but their flights towards fantasy. There's no straight line of conventional narrative here. Like the best conversations, these paintings skew sideways and take necessary but unexpected detours. They're really great, and I wholeheartedly congratulate you, Claire, and declare this exhibition open.